Bad news, gang. The neighbors got the black walnut tree. I guess it was technically on their land. Technically, they're superficial jabronis who make the world a worse place. I guess if you make weapons or insurance, you don't need free superfoods falling from the sky, but I'm just a little bit salty. The pawpaws are also a bit salty, and the spicebush, they're not really supposed to get full sun. They went from only a few hours to probably 8 hours of full sun. It's been really hot and dry. It looks like they're gonna pull through though, and I haven't lost too many, at least not yet. The hawthorns will be happy though, and since there's a lot more sun, I've added some American plum. I started from seed, transplanted here. I've got a black oak. That'll have enough sun here. Make sure you protect these. You need to protect the acorn at the bottom as well. The squirrels and chipmunks will dig that up. But I've also got persimmon. Persimmon aren't browsed as much. They should be safe here. This is a Kentucky Yellowwood. There's also a volunteer Tulip Poplar that blew in on the wind. That'll be happy here. So we'll have a greater diversity of stuff in the long run, I suppose. Here's the raspberry. This is what I meant in the last video when I said planting the tip of the cane. You plant this guy in the ground, it makes a new crown. So that'll be a new crown next year. Also, doing that makes the cane send up lateral shoots. And these lateral shoots will grow throughout the year, and they will be what fruits next year. That was the back of our yard. This is the front. These are my Chickasaw plums. They've been in the ground for about a year. I don't know how old they were when I bought them from the nursery. They're not from seed, but I can kind of tell already that the trees from seed are going to catch up. Transplanting is always a stressful process with a plant, and they're going to take a while to recover. Here's the Mayhaw. It's a more southern version of the hawthorn. I think it'll do well here in a warming world. So if it can survive the diseases, that is. Crataegus has got a lot of diseases. Here's a hawthorn I started from seed and then transplanted. It's struggling. The cedar apple rust and the cedar quince rust are both big problems already, and I don't know if the tree will have an immune response in the long run, or if these young trees are doomed and I should plant more. But yeah, we'll see. Here's another young hawthorn. This is the cedar apple rust. This is actually what I look for in the woods when I'm looking for wild hawthorns. This kind of stands out in an otherwise green sea of leaves. This is the quince rust. It's more commonly seen on the fruits. The fruits get these disgusting red tentacles before they're ripe. And this canker had some. I brushed them off. I did my best to clean it. But the recommendation is to prune off any branches affected with the disease, which would be the whole tree basically. So I'm not going to do that for now, but yeah, we'll see if this tree survives or not. Here's the small garden version of the house. My mom mostly tends this, but she's really done a lot with the little here. This is south facing, so it gets a lot of sun. Obviously things like basil and tomatoes are not native to Ohio, but they do grow well here. Marigolds are close. They're from Central America. They're growing well here. But there are native foods here. Here is the nodding onion. You can eat the greens like chives, or you could dig up the little bulbs and eat them. I'm not going to do that for a while because I want it to spread. This is fennel, not native, but it's a host for certain caterpillars. I've seen caterpillars on these, swallowtail caterpillars, I think. In the back there's some cut leaf coneflower. That's been dug up and moved a couple times. It keeps coming back. Super weedy, productive, edible plant. And back there we have white mulberry that we keep cutting back. It keeps resprouting, but it makes a good mulch just to cut those, and you know, we're not going to let it get out of control. It's good for that, and we're also using it as a trellis for the cucumbers. So use your imagination. I'm not someone who thinks everything should be native all the time, but you know, make the most of what you got. So the pawpaw have had some time to adjust to the extra sun. Most of them are recovering nicely, and even the ones that had died are resprouting from the bottom, so the roots are still alive. So that's a good sign. And there's still some spicebush under the fence here that are in full shade, and they're really happy. And the hawthorns are responding quite well. There's lots of new fresh growth, so that's good to see. So what I've done is I've just dug a small trench and filled it with pawpaw seeds. It's really not any different from planting any other kind of seed. It's just gonna take a winter to stratify, and then it'll germinate next spring. But these direct seeded pawpaws are gonna be a lot better positioned to survive than any kind of transplant. The first year growth of pawpaws is very slow anyway. Yeah, just go ahead and cover this up. Since it is gonna overwinter, you don't have to worry so much about, you know, all this debris. This is gonna break down and basically turn into soil while the seeds are stratifying. And yeah, that's how you direct seed pawpaws. All right, so it's the end of August, and all things considered, the food forest is looking pretty good. The pawpaws have recovered. That Tulip Poplar is going crazy. My hawthorns got browsed, so I put a cage around them. They're recovering nicely, and they are showing no signs of either quince rust or apple rust, so that's really encouraging to see. I've also, here's the raspberry's popping off. I planted some more tips, and yeah, all of these lateral branches will flower and fruit next year, so we'll have some raspberries. This is a edible lamb's quarter. I don't think this is the native variety, but I also don't think it matters much for now. I've also planted some cannabis, as is my newly God-given right. There's a big one there. Plums are looking good. Persimmons are growing like weeds. So all things considered, the extra light here is a good thing. I'm still sad about the walnut, but what are you gonna do? Like I said, there's gonna be a greater diversity of stuff in the long run. I also extended down this line. There's a sad looking Kentucky Yellowwood. We'll see if that pulls through. A couple of late started persimmons. And yeah, just whatever I feel like works. We'll see how it grows.